Greetings all, I'm Ponyfan and welcome back. Before the video starts, lots of movement and flashing. If that bothers you, please leave. If you watched last week's video, you know the story behind this week's video. If you didn't, go watch it. I'm back yet again. This time is not really a redesign, but a while back I did a Dragon Prince hybrid challenge inspired from Dragon Sheep's Wings of Fire hybrid challenge. Anyway, the idea was that I would spin a wheel and the two races it would land on I would make a character from. And one of them was a human star-touched elf, which I dubbed a star-touched human. Yeah, I know, very creative. Anyway, his name is Leo and I'm going to be doing a speed paint of him. Because I really didn't like the original, my skills have improved slightly since then. Let's talk about the character. Leo's mom is a human and his dad is a star-touched elf. He was born after the events of the series, The Dragon Prince. The Dragon King has yet to come out, so I'm just going to ignore its future existence. He grew up in a small village on the border of Xadia. His father was a cold elf and had trouble showing his emotions, and after Leo's mother died, he became even more distant. And as soon as Leo was old enough, he left and rejoined the stars, which made Leo's already cold personality icy. He didn't really care about anyone, he prefers just to observe. A short time after his father left, he journeyed around Xadia and the human kingdoms, collecting stories, history books, tomes, scrolls, anything really, and hoarded them in a great library, for really only his eyes. But during his journey he ran into a group of performers, and met Melanie, a hybrid like himself. But that's where their similarities ended. Melanie is a sky elf, seabound elf cross. She favors her seabound elf heritage. Melanie was kind and gentle and full of energy, everything that he wasn't, and she glued herself to him like some kind of cuddle monkey. But he liked her, not that he would ever admit to it, especially to her. When he was done with his travels, he returned to his library, and stayed isolated within its walls, until about 2 weeks later, a pounding on his door disturbed his reading, and he tried to ignore it, but after an hour of the constant beating, he opened the door to find Melanie, where she proceeded to drag him out the door and into the village, to meet her friend Edward, which was obviously another hybrid, but didn't seem to know it. And Leo wasn't going to tell him. That was none of his business, or his problem, or really anything he cared about, unless Melanie cared, then maybe he did. And that was pretty much how his life went for a while. Every couple of days, Melanie would drag him out of the library to go see the world, or just to hang out. Alright, that's the backstory. As you can see, I brought in my other two hybrids, Melanie and Edward. If you want to know more about them, go check out my original video. I'm not really sure how I feel about the backstory. It's a little generic, but it's what I've done right now. Maybe I'll come back to it and rewrite it. Okay, now let's talk about the art. As you could probably figure out, I decided to make him older in this piece. When I first drew him, I designed him to look way younger, and I really wanted to do a piece where he was fully grown. This one's kind of been sitting in my brain for a while now, and I decided to finally do it. As you saw from the speed paint, he was originally going to be holding a staff, but I just couldn't get the pose right and it kept blocking too much of his face. So instead I made it a book and put his staff on his back. I also carried over the idea of a starry cloak. I really like how it turned out in the original, so I made this one longer and changed the color a bit. I also gave it a hood, which is hard to see because it's down, but it's there. I wanted to keep the cloak open so you could see the star on his chest. So instead of having buttons, it has latches near the neck, which I really like how that turned out. I don't really like how his star turned out though. It doesn't really look like what I was picturing. I changed the angle of his face so it looks like he's reading his book. Unfortunately, I'm not really good at angles, but I do think I pulled it off. If you watched last week's video, you know Krita crashed, and because of that all my previous settings were messed up, and I forgot to change the recording settings back, so the last few seconds of the video are kinda blurred because of the recording in the wrong settings. Finally, the background. It was pretty easy. I just did a library. Yep, I put some books and then blurred them. I didn't do a lot of detail. It was going to be blurred, and I think it turned out pretty okay. I like it, so that's all that really matters. I'm really proud of this piece, which is something I don't say a lot. Finally, let's talk about the shading, and I love how it turned out. One side is a little lighter where the light reflects and other side darker, and it just turned out really well. Shading is not something I do with skill. I've always just done flat, the bare minimum when I do shading. And whenever I try to do more, I struggle with it. There's really nothing more to say, so until next time, this is Ponyfan saying bye. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you're interested in gaming videos, go check out my second channel, Ponyfan Gaming, link in the description. And while you're down there, don't forget to leave a comment and maybe what you want to see next.